Once again, thank you for being here today. Uh, my relationship with Duluth started 25 years ago when I moved here and married Kathy. And I have lived a very wonderful life. And moving here and being part of a large extended family is something that very few people have the opportunity to do. And what a wonderful family I married into. What role models for me, the three daughters, Margaret and Catherine and Anne, and the time that I got to spend with Calvin and Miss Kate. I can't tell you how important that was to me and what a man he was. But like I said, I've had a charmed life. I've had so many opportunities, and life has been very good to me. I grew up in Fort Worth, and I was a member of the Texas Boys Choir. I traveled all over the United States when I was 11 and 12. I had the opportunity to shake hands with the greatest musician of the 20th century, Igor Stravinsky. Recorded out in Los Angeles, and our choir was recognized for singing the 150th Psalm. We won a Grammy Award for that. So I had my moment in the sun when I was much younger, and that was enough for me, and so I moved behind the scenes. I came to Atlanta when I came and joined Delta Airlines as a flight attendant. Been there for 34 years. I have traveled all over the world. In 1977, I was one of the first Americans to go into communist China and spend 10 days there. I've had opportunities to sail the oceans, all down the Caribbean chain and even from Charleston, Bermuda. And my one distinction is I've been rescued by the Coast Guard. We lost our rudder about 90 miles off Cape Canaveral, and they came out and towed us in. So my life has been very, very rich, and I've been very blessed to have a wonderful wife. And now I'm at that point in life where my children are grown. I'm so proud of them, both Maggie and Kelly, both magna cum laude graduates a couple of weeks ago, one from Moody Bible Institute and the other from the University of Georgia. And Maggie married in February to Jonathan Hunter, and Jonathan and Maggie now live in Oxford, Ohio, and I'm just so glad to have them here with us today to be a part of this. And that's the main reason that I'm up here today, is because the America that I knew is not the America that they will know. And I want you to think for a minute, back when you were in school, and you started the school day with the Pledge of Allegiance, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And if you were a scout, on my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country and to obey the scout laws. Those are the values that we need to have to turn this country around. Now, in this campaign, I'm an underdog. I don't have the funds. I don't have the name recognition that some of the other candidates do, but what I have is you. And you are the most important thing to me and why I want to be a part of changing this country. But I'm going to need you to reach deep. And I'm going to need you to connect in ways that you haven't connected before. Because if this country is going to turn around, it's going to be because we, as citizens of a community, start getting to know our neighbors and reach out and try to help one another. This community is so blessed. I've traveled all over the United States. I see Bill McCargo. He has done so much for this community. And we are so blessed. We live in one of the greatest communities in the United States. And it's because people have worked together. And that's how we're going to solve this problem. We're not going to solve it in Washington. They're only making it worse for us, making it more difficult for our small businesses to survive and to prosper and to add new jobs. But we have a social safety net here in this county. We've got organizations like Family Promise, like Rainbow Village. I could go on, Laurel Moore and the Dream House, Annandale. So many people that have a heart for people in need. And that is what we need to support. And that's how we're going to see our way through these rough times. How I got here? Well, last year, when they started with the TARP, the Troubled Asset Relief Program, I'm a free market person. I don't believe that the government needs to be bailing out corporations. I believe that free markets if allowed to work their way out, will provide the best solutions. And so when we started pouring $700 billion into that, I became extremely concerned. And then we had the president change. President Obama came in, and he talked about stimulus. And you looked at the stimulus and how much money was being spent to create those jobs. And then bailing out GM, and then Goldman Sachs, and just one thing after another after another. And somebody's got to pay for that. And who is that going to be? That's going to be the next generation. And so they will not have the opportunities that we have because of that debt. And that is what we've got to do. We've got to turn it around. And we've got to shrink the size of government. The founding fathers never intended the federal government to be this invasive or this powerful. In fact, that's what they feared, the tyranny of the government. And as you know, since the 2000 election, our country is very, very divided. The social fabric is being tested every day. We're pitting one against the other. We have people that have needs, that have come to depend on the federal government, and we have the producers that are being taxed and taxed and taxed and taxed. It's going to be a very difficult time for this country, and it won't be turned around in a very short period of time. The only way we can survive this is to get to know one another. That's the only way. And so as we enter this campaign, I ask you to step up. And it's much like David and Goliath, the Philistines being the federal government. And there's a lot of Goliaths out there. But I ask you to contemplate what it is that God has called you to do and to step up and meet that challenge of those Goliaths that are out there and follow God's way and take a chance and have faith that in the end God will prevail and this country will return to greatness.
Hey, that was the first thing I was going to tell you. My hero in Roy Rogers, Jef and Roy. Let's give him a hand. He did a great job. Come on. Hey, our next congressman. Come on, let's hear it for him. Stand up. Let's hear it.